24, Driving Business.
Good evening and welcome along to Business Today. I'm Joram Ssonko with Winnie Williams and Akauchi on Sign Language. We're coming to you live from Block 42, Nile Avenue. Good evening again. All right, now kickstarting it off, we start with the East African Community Common Currency as the third pillar of regional integration after the Customs Union and the Common Market is the adoption of the Common Currency regime by the East African countries in 2024. It does establish the foundation for a monetary union within 10 years and permits the East African Community partner states to gradually unify their currencies into a single currency in the community. Now, as the third pillar of our integration, the foundation of this institute will help spark the creation of the East African Monetary Union. We have more in this report.
The establishment of monetary stability within the community requires cooperation in financial and fiscal affairs, which is required when there is a unified currency. This aims at making it easier to achieve the community's sustainable economic development and economic integration objectives. Finalize regional regulations for pension benefit, portability and consumer protection, as well as financial infrastructure for payment and settlement systems.
A common currency really rotates around aspects of regional integration. And from an academic point of view, I understand we have had an elusive journey when it comes to achieving regional integration. And of course, it happens around 7 stages. And I think by the time we reach at a common currency, we are at the stage of forming a monetary union. So prior to that, there is that journey that we have walked, that initially we start from a preferential trade agreement, literally, which envisages that as countries, when we are near each other, we are able to trade at lower transaction costs because the distance is small.
This project seeks to harmonize monetary and fiscal policies, financial payment and settlement systems, and the establishment of an East African Central Bank. Additionally, it aims to lower transaction costs, save on foreign reserves, eliminate currency rate risk, and harmonize prices across the entire region.
Common currency is sometimes a bit of pride, regional pride, because it still doesn't stop people trading, especially when you have a common currency in quotes like the dollar, which is acceptable across all the different countries. So you already have a common currency if it is for purposes of facilitating a medium of exchange. That one is already covered, it's not a problem. But the other one is trying to remove maybe foreign exchange transaction costs and barriers and build confidence. So there are roles that it plays. Minimal roles in today's world where you can, even now we are going into digital payments. It doesn't matter which currency I'm using to pay. because the cash will no longer be so much of an issue.
As East Africa moves towards having a single currency, it is important to rationalize investment, utilize existing sectors to their fullest potential, and harmonize trade rules, investment incentives, and product standards in order to promote the community as a single investment region. More so, this will harmonize East African statistics information rules and standards, as well as financial accounting and reporting processes. Martha Nimsima, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Right now, away from that, we look at the supplementary efforts to poverty eradication. President Yoweri Museveni has cautioned the people of Chiruhura and Kazo to quit complaining about poor roads in their districts and instead focus on doing things that will increase their household incomes. Rona Nahabwe reports.
His Excellency, the President, accompanied by the First Lady, Mrs. Janet Kataha Museveni, visited the farmers and leaders from Chiruhura and Kazo districts. He urged leaders at all levels to focus their efforts on income-generating activities that will better the livelihoods and families of the people they lead.
People from Tungamo are hardworking. We rear cattle and cultivate, and that is how we have been able to survive.
The President was also pleased to learn from Reverend Samuel Mugisha, the Kazo LC5 chairperson, that out of 35,000 households in the area, 67% are engaged in commercial farming, 33% are engaged in subsistence farming, and the majority of them have small pieces of land.
Your Excellency, I want to let you know that there are more individuals engaged in financial farming than you may think. And I want to let you know that this trend is continuing. I also want to extend an invitation to visit our headquarters to see how far we've come.
Lieutenant Colonel retired Bright Ramilama, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Animal Industry, welcomed the President to Kazo and highlighted a number of initiatives that will support agriculture.
Please allow me to introduce you to some of the schemes that will help to enhance agriculture, including mechanization in the fields of rearing and cultivation in certain locations.
The head of state emphasized the risk posed by land fragmentation, claiming that it is one of the obstacles to Ugandans' progress. Rona Nahabwe, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now let's look at what is failing government programs, as legislators have advised the government to replace cash with stronger economic incentives and raw resources in light of the government's program's ongoing failures, because it's obvious that once individuals receive money, they utilize it for their immediate needs rather than the project for which it was meant to do. Samna Hanifa.
Over the years, government of Uganda has made notable strides in eradicating poverty since it assumed power in 1986. Household poverty rates have significantly declined from 19.7% in 2013 to 8.4% by 2020. However, even with this improvement, Uganda is still considered one of the poorest countries in the world, with a substantial number of its people living in abject poverty. Government is popular for its ambitious economic plans aimed at transforming Uganda homesteads from subsistence to market-oriented production through poverty-eradicating programs that encourage value-addition production. Programs like Rural Farmers Scheme in 1990s, Entandikwa in 1996, Bonabaga Gawale in 2007, Youth Livelihood Fund Emyoga to the current parish development model. But all these have posted little to no success.
So there have been so many projects in Karamoja region and other regions. For example, NUSAF, Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, it has been pouring a lot of money to these regions. And also we have been having youth livelihood funds. We have been having women empowerment funds. Now we have been having EMIOGA. There is now PDF, Parish Development Model. All these programs are giving, there is a lot of money going to the region. But if you don't have a brain to utilize the opportunities, then it's like dropping a needle into the sea. Yeah, if these people are not equipped with the capacity, with the knowledge on how to manage their funds, yeah, everything will become air.
Besides corruption, many of these said programs have been watered down by inflated administration costs, bureaucratic tape, and financial illiteracy among intended beneficiaries, and lawmakers advise government to revise the cash system to instead giving people incentives and inputs.
In our area, in a Acholi sub-region, why not to give tractors to our people? Even if in a parish you give one tractor, let us support people so that they open up their own garden, they work their own money. And sincerely, this idea of giving money to people, and even if the money was there, truly, you are giving money to someone who has never done any business, someone who is in the village, someone who does not have a bar of soap, even salt in the house. Automatically will get the money and use the money, and that is going to be the end of everything. So I really feel the organizers, the planners for the PDM, I think they have misled the government. This is a very fake program. It won't work in the villages where I come from.
I was laughing at the people who are technical people in charge of these projects. In my community, I don't have power. I don't have electricity in my community. In my community, I don't have even any taxi transport. But you find that the boys were having the projects for welding. Where will you get the money for power? The boys were getting projects for taxi operators. Is that not corruption? How do you approve such a project when it doesn't exist in that place? So some of this money, it is just like people target the money just to eat, not just to develop themselves. I don't think whether that can make Uganda to move up to another level. Because why is it that people get money, but they still continue being poor? Most of us MPs, we are just spending a lot of money in our constituencies to fundraise, to buy ambulances, to buy, to fundraise for churches, to fundraise for schools.
According to Honorable Kwizera, government programs are not bad, but there is less consultation done before they are introduced just to excite Ugandans, yet they are not viable. He says these programs cannot take first priority to security and infrastructure. That is why they are only active on paper and not in reality.
So we pray that the economy improves. Otherwise, you cannot say that the punishment model will work alone when the roads have not received the money. UNRWA and the Ministry of Works, they don't have money to work on those roads. So what is the priority in government? Security, infrastructure, and punishment model cannot be priority on security and roads. So people should have realistic thinking, realistic budgeting, and realistic expenditure. That's when we shall develop.
COVID-19 pandemic affected very many businesses of Ugandans, but even though government put up some money, totaling up to 200 billion, for formal and small medium enterprises to borrow this money, only 4 billion has so far been borrowed, something that indicates that few Ugandans embrace government projects.
Small businesses which are formal, employing some people, they are having books of accounts, in other words, they are showing sign of recovery to go and get this support. About 200 billion is available. The last time I checked, the banks had lent out something like only 4 billion. So we have relaxed the conditions to ensure that they can be able to access this money and recover.
The 2023-2024 budget framework paper has put focus on adding money for parish development model to improve the lives of many Ugandans who are affected by COVID-19. But the question remains whether actually Ugandans will benefit from this scheme. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, the East African community has requested policy coordination as the development has benefited significantly from the African Continental Free Trade Area. And Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga has called for synchronization of policies and actions in order to protect enterprises such as our natural resources, which have played a significant role in the growth of the East African community. Samuel Kirimunda compiled this report.
Political and social divisions impede East African communities' efforts to integrate. These divisions result in what seem to be interminable non-tariff barriers, which pose a danger to the region's overall contribution to international markets. For instance, global trade inside East Africa shrank in 2017 from 0.3% to a pitiful 0.2%. Additionally, the trade deficit rose by 63.1% to $17.4 billion. Exports the rest of the world declined as well, and just 29.2% of the exports were going to COMESA and other intra-regional markets. The African Continental Free Trade Area, however, encouraged cooperation and goodwill to employ already existing tools and well-designed policies to enhance trade and remove entrenched barriers. John Bosco Kalisa, the chief executive of the East African Business Council, has praised the creation of the technical working group by the African Continental Free Trade Area as a great forum for including private sectors and discussing issues that have an influence on conducting business.
One is the establishment of technical working group, which is an excellent platform for engaging the private sector to discuss and dialogue on important issues that impact doing business in the region.
Stella Upload, the leading standards officer for East African Secretariat, reveals that this year over 2,500 standards have been harmonized, bringing the overall rate up to 80% from the prior years.
Over 80 standards, and the adoption of these standards by the partner state has been very great. We have it at the percentage of 80%.
Additionally, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, the first Deputy Prime Minister of Uganda and the Minister for East Africa, argues that Africa has a wealth of natural resources that must be handled through promoting policy and action cooperation.
Had a very fruitful meeting, and it's coming after a long time. It just underscores the urgency of what we need to do now to catch up in terms of conserving the environment, improving our resources, managing what we have.
The European Union, as far as trading blocs go, has served as a global case study of transforming a free market into a common market. The EU defied all odds and proceeded to expand in depth and geography in a historic feat while facing significant obstacles in the integration process, such as the repeated crisis in the exchange rate mechanism in the early 1990s. Therefore, if the AfCFTA is fully utilized, it will transform not only Uganda, but the entire region into a stronghold in the marketing. As a result of speaking the same commercial language, we would finally be able to compete in the global markets. Samla Hanifa, Samuel Chirimunda, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now let's talk matters microfinance transformation to banks. The microfinance industry has undergone significant development and professionalism after the 2003 changes to the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Act, with the amendment to the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Regulations of 2022. Now the banks will be able to manage around 60 to 70% of their loans with deposits, keeping interest rates low. We have more in this report.
The Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Amendments Act of 2022 will help change Tier 3 to function like a bank with the ability to provide services similar to those of the bank. Additionally, by using various distribution methods, agency banking will be able to reach more customers, particularly those who live in remote areas.
Looking forward to the amendments of the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Act, where one of the key amendments that we expect is that one is to use the word bank, which is, if you're looking at the services we offer, we are actually offering banking services. Because if a customer comes and say, please come and save money with us, when the customer is coming, he will be telling you, I'm going to bank my money. I'm going to the bank. But now we don't have the word bank. So that tends to have that perception that we only lend, we don't do banking services.
The law empowers the Bank of Uganda to give supervisory control over registered societies with voluntary savings in excess of shillings 1.5 billion and institutional capital in excess of shillings 500 million. With revisions to the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Bill 2022, the Bank of Uganda will begin regulating at least 42 savings and credit cooperative societies with voluntary savings in excess of shillings 1.5 billion.
They are called the bank, their clientele will gain more confidence. And that means they will deposit more with them. The point which I bought very well is that currently they lend about 250 billion, but they mobilize about 370 billion.
So that's the amendments will also allow us to offer agency banking. And now that will help our clients to focus on their businesses rather than traveling for long distances to come and bank the money. Because we want to use branchless banking. It is hard for you to find a branch everywhere, but it is possible we can get services without us having a branch in a location. For example, we have customers in Gayaza. How do you travel from Gayaza to Wandegea to bank the money? And yet you could bank the money in Gayaza, just next door.
Key amendments proposed in this bill include permitting micro-deposit-taking institutions to offer Islamic finance, as well as allowing them to offer insurance services and products through back assurance. Bronia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, and Business Today does continue immediately after the break. We shall be returning with the Coffee Court discussions, so keep around.
Smart 20